Ninja! Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. Going to do a review here, but first, there's a guy on YouTube, you know him, and he just got himself a copy of the new Colin Stetson album on vinyl. You want to guess who it is? No, it's not Macasaur FM. Before I get into this review, linked down there in the description bar, a piece of music from a Swedish singer-songwriter, Anna von Hauswolf. She is fantastic. This LP came out last year, went largely unnoticed. I'm thinking about reviewing it, but I want to know what you guys think about the music. Tell me down there in the comments. And also link down there a new music video from a rapper by the name of Rex. It's awesome. Pretty much a year ago, Burzum had released its first album since its sole member, Varg, had been released from jail, Bellis. While I am a fan of black metal, I'm a fan of it because I like how it sounds. I like the style. I like the genre. It's not because I am totally in with the ideology or I follow the exploits of its figureheads. I have no clue what true black metal is. I couldn't care less. All I know is that I like what I hear when I hear what I like. And that showed up in my Bellis review, when I was pretty harsh on the mixing and the repetition. And a lot of people were not happy about that. Whatever. You can't stop me from listening to Burzum. I don't care. Now, I'm not going to beat around the bush here. In my opinion, this thing is definitely an improvement upon what Varg was doing on Bellis. The biggest change for me is in the mixing and production department. Not to say that hardcore black metal fans need to jump ship. This thing is still rough around the edges. It's still very distorted, very rough, a lot of ferocity. This thing is like getting caught in the middle of a blizzard and you're freezing to death, and just before you take that final breath, a pack of wolves come in and just tear you to shreds. The guitars still have that tinny texture to them that we're used to hearing on Burzum LPs, but there's a balance going on here. The guitars are a little lower. The vocals are no longer fighting with them for room in the mix. You can hear the drums. There's audible bass. And though the repetition that I talked about on the last LP is here to an extent, I could tell Varg has worked harder to flesh his songs out, put a lot more meat on the bone with these tracks. Just take the title track, for example. Starts with a guitar riff, then builds into drum and bass, harsh vocals in the verse, then matching the harsh vocals up with clean vocals in the chorus. Just a lot of progression, a lot of different stuff to take notice of. And this may not be a very cult thing to say, but it's a pretty catchy song too. Catchy. Bellis may have been more about atmosphere, creating a place for you to put your head into. This thing is definitely more about direction. Another noticeable change from Bellis to here is that Varg is using a lot more clean vocals in these songs, and it's added a really cool dynamic too, switching that up with the screaming, the singing. I do gotta give Varg props on his screams though. He sounds like a wild animal. Now overall this thing lasts 47 minutes. It's spread over 7 tracks, 2 of which are an ambient intro and an outro. So it's pretty easy to find out which songs you do and don't like pretty quickly. You really only have 5 to pick from. For me, Yegfaller has a good hook, but it drags on for me a little bit, and I do like where the song Vanvid goes, but starting the track off with 2 straight minutes of blast beats is just a bore. I do like Each Man to His Own though. Really nice dissonant guitars on that one, really broods, very dark. I'm feeling a heavy, heavy mood on that track. And the last rock track on here, The Message, as soon as an epic intro flies by, it goes into a drum beat that you could find in like any old rock song. Between the stronger drum beats here, the cleaner mix, to me this is like Varg's most accessible album he's ever put together under the Burzum name. There are 3 songs on here I really liked, 2 that I was kind of on the fence with, and the intro, the outro really didn't add into the equation for me. At the end of the day, I'm kind of left wanting more, which has stopped me from loving this record, but I still do like it. I'm kind of feeling a decent to strong 6 on this thing, for sure. Now that being said, though I do like this, I don't endorse the ideology of this guy, especially when it comes to homosexuality and race. I don't really care what the guy believes, just as long as he doesn't try to sell it to me in his music. And I have looked over the lyrics on this album, and the lyrics basically deal with death, nature, pagan gods. But I did take a look at the lyrics on The Message, which deal with nationalism, an army, the family unit, the white world, and using the blood of your cowardly enemies to fertilize your soil. And according to a recent Metal Sucks interview, Varg actually kind of censored himself on that song. I would love to hear the director's cut. And he says this is because, and I quote, "there is no real freedom of speech anywhere." Well, if Varg is not jailed for what he says in terms of his beliefs, then he has freedom of speech. If a bunch of internet trolls, or people who don't like his ideology, go and hate on him for believing what he believes, that's different. That's not a loss of freedom of speech. Just because you are free to say what you want to say doesn't mean people have to like it. I deal with that every day. I can't just make a video and say an album sucks, and when a bunch of people come up to me and say, "You're an idiot, you're infringing on my freedom of speech," it doesn't work that way. Sorry, it doesn't. So if you're racist, at least be open about it. Then I can say, hey, you know, that guy's racist, that's what he believes, I'll just leave him over there and avoid him. So now I kind of have this hot potato in my hands that I don't really want to deal with, and though I do like this album, it's not like I like it so much I could just ignore this fact. You may call it close-minded, but I don't deal with Glenn Beck's BS. Why would I deal with Varg's? So don't be surprised if, in the future, I'm a little more hesitant to review anything this guy does. Alright, Anthony Fantano, forever.